Storybox Audio. 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 Storybox Audio.
Welcome to the Choose to Change 90-Day Reentry Program. If you're a visitor or new to this program, we welcome you and we're glad that you are here. Many of us walked into these rooms not sure of what to expect, but many of us stayed because of what we saw. Real people with real problems who had real hope. This 90-day reentry program is a self-supporting group sponsored by the Choose to Change Foundation. There are no dues or fees to attend a class, but we do encourage donations from our members and anyone who believes in what we are doing. The only requirement for membership is a sincere desire to change. So if you're ready to change your life, then you are in the right place. Through this program, you will learn the tools and resources to finally change your life forever and a relationship-based support system to keep you going. For many of us, there is no easy way out of the mess we created in our lives, even if it wasn't your fault. But the good news is that there is a way out if you choose to believe in the impossible. My name is Frank Salazar. I've been a member of the Choose to Change Foundation going on 11 years. And if you're not on our text group, get on it because that's one way to stay accountable. If you need to reach out to someone, there is a group of us there. You can always say, hey, I need to talk to someone. Sometimes people throw in scriptures. It's just a way to just keep us accountable. And today we're going to be hearing about the mindset. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Orlando Salinas, our CEO, mentor, and founder. Please welcome to the podium.
For coming. I'm really, really excited about tonight's message or teaching. What I teach in here, I've been teaching it for years. I've been learning for years. I started learning everything I've learned. I teach in here 27 years ago. I read a lot of books, talked to a lot of people, heard a lot of sermons, gone to a lot of seminars. And what I'm telling you, what I'm sharing with you is real and it's concrete. It's not something I just came up with. It's something that it's not new. Someone once told me that's common sense. I said, well, the problem is it might be common sense, but it's not common practice. And that's our problem. We're not used to certain things. And we have to get used to certain things. You know, as if we want to build a better life, you have to build new attitudes and new habits and new lifestyles. That's how it works. But in any case, well, let's welcome everybody. I want an announcement. I have a couple announcements. In December, I'm going to go do an event in a prison in San Diego. So it's going to be me and my wife. We usually go. I share my story. She speaks to the men as well, and I take a group of 6, 8 to 10 people with me. But on February the 22nd of next year, I'm doing a prison invasion, and that's what I do, like a Bill Glass kind of deal. That's what I do. I take in about 20 or 30 men and women from our church and whoever's interested in going. And we have a little concert scene. We do testimonies, and then I usually share my story. And we always see great results from that. People giving their lives to Jesus Christ, and then after that, I'll be doing a seminar. Have I told you guys that I do seminars in the prison? Have I told you guys? Okay, so everything you're learning here, all this process that I teach here in a 90-day session, I do it in 5 hours in one session. Because the idea is to go teach some of these guys that are, before they get out, to start thinking about what needs to change for them to be successful out here. Because my goal to our program, guys, is to help you succeed. And I'm telling you that what I'm about to share with you tonight and for the next 3 weeks, this week, the following week and the next week, and I made it that way because there's a lot to learn about what I'm going to share, what we're going to talk about tonight. And I'm going to talk about the mindset, your philosophy. And this is the core or the heart of change. I'm telling you it is. I'm not telling you it might be or it could be. I'm telling you, if you want to change your life for good, and you're wondering why you're so messed up or why you're so twisted or why you think the way you think or why you act the way you act or why you feel the way you feel, I'm telling you, you're going to learn it in the next 3 weeks. And a lot of it is going to learn it today. If you want to change your life, that's very important to understand. A lot of people tell me, I know a lot of pastors and a lot of people that were counselors and substance abuse counselors and teachers. And I'm going to a school también at the end of the week, by the way, at the end of the month. I'm going to talk to youth. In fact, you know what? I was going to ask you guys. I'm going to go talk to some at what do you call that when they alternative school. So let me ask you guys, what do you think I should tell them? Do you have what would you tell them if you had the opportunity to go talk to some youth? I'm serious, because I'm going to tell them, you know what? This guy, he told me this. This guy, he told me that. What would you want me to tell them? Anybody want to say something? There you go.
Don't worry. Relax. Be wise. Be calm
Okay.
about situations, because sometimes they're getting abused by their family or their brothers or sisters, and you can't do anything, and you're still underneath that one roof.
Uh-huh.
I think I wouldn't know what to tell them.
All right. No, I'm just asking what you would think. You got to think about when you were.
Yeah, and think about money.
Okay.
Money and God, and
Anybody else?
God, change before you go to prison.
Okay. That's what I'm going to try to help them out with. Anybody else? You want to say something? Go ahead. Remember, we're talking to 15, 16-year-olds.
And easy money is not the way out or to make a life. You gotta work hard for it.
Mm-hmm.
Easy money doing stuff that you're not supposed to. Just because other people are doing it is easy money to make life. Selling drugs or anything like that is not the way out. Just an easy.
Okay. Anybody else?
I would tell them, when I was 15 years old, some of the things that I did, share my testimony, and then some of the turning points in my life, and how someone came up and witnessed to me when I was 18 years old, and began to share the word of God with me, and so on and so forth, and hopefully the word of my testimony would have some sort of impact.
Some kind of effect. Okay.
Yeah.
Brother, what would you tell them? Can you think of something?
Just to think about what really they want to do in life. If they
Think
wanna
about
go-
what you want to do in life.
yeah,
Okay.
If you want to go that the hard way, you're gonna learn the hard way.
Okay.
But if you want to do the easy way, keep on going to school, finish school. Don't waste your life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just like people like me, you know what I mean? Been in there so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I never did anything right.
Never did anything right. Wow.
You know what I mean? So they just gotta think positive before you do stupid
Think
stupid
positive?
stuff. Stupid stuff before you're doing something.
So here's the problem I run into. I found out, guys. All of us are looking from over here back to where they're at, right? But when you're talking to them, they don't see all that. They won't understand. What do you mean fast money? It's good. I'm serious. They don't see it. They don't see the 4 times the prison. They don't see it. So then what I'm going to do is, you know what I thought about? One that I thought about of telling them, especially the guys, you better watch out. who you decide to mess with when it comes to a young lady. You tell them. Because there's a lot of sex offenders. For being with a 17-year-old, being with a 16-year-old. And you know what happens to them? Y'all know? For the rest of their life. 17 years old. It'll mess you up so bad. I mean, I've met a lot of guys on the sex offender that some of them did mess up. I mean, they were child molesters, you know. But that's between God and them. But there's some guys that just because they were right there, you know what I mean? And they'll mark you for life. And there's nothing you can do about it. So that's pretty tough, no? We don't see that stuff. So either way, it's hard, man. A lot of people want to talk to the youth, but man, it's so hard to reach them. I'm going to go do my best. But anyway, let's talk about where you're at right now. All right. So in this class, I teach about the life change is a process. There's a lot of things that if you need to get this because there's so many things happening in your world right now, your job, your friends, it's so many things that are happening. And if you don't concentrate, you know, you got your phone, you have so many distractions, you have to deal with bills, you have to deal with a job, you have so many things you have to deal with. And if you don't think, if you don't start thinking, you have to start thinking. Then you're going to keep on making the same mistakes over and over and over. And I'm telling you, stay with me because what I'm about to share with you will change your life forever if you just start putting it into practice. So let me tell you, let's jump right into it. Mindset is the key to change. It's the key to change. I'm telling you, it's the key to change. Listen to this. I read a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Who's ever heard of that book? The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I read this in prison. And I started reading it because, remember, I wanted to change my life. I just didn't know how. And so then listen to this. Here's what he says. This is a book called by Stephen Covey. It was a number one seller for years. This is considered a book that everybody should read if they're interested in changing their lives. So listen closely. He says, one of the things he said is to achieve real change in your life, there's 3 things that have to happen. To achieve real change in your life, there's 3 things that must happen, he says. He says, number 1, you need to work on your character. So what does that mean? That means that you have to work on who you are as a person. That's what he's saying. You have to work on who you are as a person. That's what character means. The second thing we have to change is form new habits. We have to form new habits. He says, and the third thing that these are musts, not if you want to, these are musts. He says, and you have to change the core or fundamental beliefs that make up how you see the world around you. In other words, your belief systems. What you believe about yourself, what you believe about God, and what you believe about society. He says these 3 things are the core to change. Now, here's what's interesting. You notice he didn't talk about your family or your surroundings or the judge or the parole officer. They don't have to change. Your circumstances don't have to change. Your sister doesn't have to change. Your mother, your brother, your friends, they don't have to change. The system That doesn't have to change. Who has to change? See, we know this. Well, a lot of people don't because they keep their blame list on their shoulders here. They carry it all around. But we'll talk more about that here in a minute. Real change, real personal change cannot be achieved through shortcuts. And this is why I started this program. Because there's no easy way out. There's some things you're going to have to learn and practice. He goes on to say that if you want change, if you want to change your destiny, where you're going in your future, you must change your habits and your character. Period. Working from the inside out. And this is what we're doing here, guys. From the moment you drastically change yourself, you begin to see the changes around you. And it's so true. To change your life, you need to change yourself. This is what this class is all about. This is what I want to talk to you about. And who is yourself? Your mind, how you think. So that's what we want to talk about tonight. The mind, the core of change. Before we get into this lesson, there's 3 very important things I want to share next also. Number 1, that mindset or philosophy is the core ingredient. I already told you that to change. You got to get that. I can't overemphasize that. In fact, this alone is going to really help you to move forward. The second thing I want you to understand is that the major key, that this key, that what I'm telling you is not going to change. It's real. Without understanding this idea that I'm telling you, that you must change your mindset, you won't change your life. You got to understand it. And number 3, the third thing about mindset is that that's the real battle. This is the real war. We're in a real battle. And the enemy, as Christians, and this is important to understand, everything I'm saying is important to understand, is that the world around us wants your attention. And the Bible teaches us that we don't fight against flesh and blood. We fight against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness. And all that is coming through here and through your eyes, through what you listen to. And it's taking a hold of your mind, and you don't even realize it. And we're going to talk about that. But the real battle is in your mind. If you can change your mind, you can change your life. And if you can win the battle in your mind, you can win the war. If you can win the battle in your mind, you can win the war. There's a lot of stuff going on through your minds right now. Your past. Just your past alone will mess you up. So in the next few weeks, we're going to learn the basics of how the mind works. I'm also going to uncover and help you understand the power of your subconscious. And then we're going to learn how to restart, or how to reprogram how you think. In other words, how you change your mindset. So you all ready? Que dices, ya me tienes hasta aquí con tanta cosa. I lost you with. You're going to get this. You're going to get this. I'll see. So let's look at first at these words that I'm using. Mindset and philosophy. Who knows what philosophy means? Philosophy. What does mindset mean? What's that? Okay. So, and this is why I'm doing this class, because you have to understand what mindset and philosophy means, because we hear it, makes sense. Yeah, I know what mindset means. Well, what does it mean? Mindset and philosophy mean about the same thing, but let's look at what Google has to say. Y'all ready? Here we go. Philosophy. Because when I first heard these words, I was lost. And I didn't understand. The first time someone told me, Orlando, it's your mind, it's how you think, that's your problem. And I'm like, what? No, I'm a loser drug addict. I put needles in my arm. I like to party. That's my problem. And he goes, no, it's how you think. It's your mind. I couldn't see it. I didn't get it. So stay with me. Philosophy. Philosophy, all that means is that it's a particular system of philosophical thought. In other words, it's how you think. It's how you make sense of things. It's what you believe. Let me read this. It's a theory or a belief held by a person. It's something you believe in. We believe as Christians in Jesus Christ. We believe he died for us. We believe he rose again. We believe he's coming back. We believe that he saved us from our sin. That's what we believe, right? And so then because we believe that, that's our Christian philosophy. You're with me? It's what you believe. Listen to this. And it acts, this philosophy, the way you think, it acts, this is really important, as a guiding principle to your behavior. What you believe guides you. So what does that mean? What are you talking about, Orlando? In other words, we act according to what we believe. You have to understand that. You act according to what you believe. Let me give you an example. If you believe it's okay to lie, what are you going to do? You're going to lie. It's that simple. And a lot of us, we grew up thinking it's okay to lie and cheat. And even when we thought it was not okay, we didn't care because we think it's okay. Un amigo mío dice que el que no, ¿cómo dice? El que no tranza, no avanza. That's a philosophy. That's a way of thinking. You understand? You all get this? How you think, what you believe is how you're going to act. So let me give you another example. If you think that there's nothing wrong with you, if you think you're okay, because I've been told that, nah, I don't need to go to that class, I'm all right. Then you don't need, then there's nothing I can do for you. If you believe that you're okay the way you are, then you don't even need to come to church. You don't need to do anything. You're okay. If that's your philosophy, y'all get that? Because what you believe is how you're going to act. It's also going to be how you're going to feel. It gets deeper than this. Listen. This is helping? Is this helping a little bit? Come on, say yes. Okay, thank you. If you believe you're a loser, listen, I thought I was a loser for years. I'd look in the mirror and I'd say, you're just a loser. You'll never amount to anything. Look at what you did. I'm telling you, people feel this way. If you're abused, there's a lot of deep issues in people, more than we want to share. A lot of people act a certain way, and I know family members act a certain way, and for some reason, but I know there's deeper issues in their lives, pain and hurt, and those things affect what you believe. For a woman that was abused by her father, she feels neglected. She feels abused. She feels dirty. Or a man. Because how you feel, what happened to you, there's a feeling there. I'm no good. I'm just junk. And so then you look in the mirror and you see junk. That's your philosophy. That's what you believe about yourself. And that's not true. You're starting to get this? If you believe you can never change your life because you've been to prison too many times, because you've never changed, because you've tried so many times before, and in your mind, you say, I'll never change. You have that philosophy, that belief. Then what's going to happen? You're not going anywhere. Can you see how important your philosophy is? I'm telling you, it's this deep. When I started getting this, I'm getting excited about this. The first time I was told that my problem was the way I thought, I just couldn't believe it. I didn't understand it, went right over me. That's why I'm so passionate about trying to help you understand and grasp this. Because in my mind, my problem was my drinking and drugging and pornography, no money, no job, that was my problem. It was the parole office, it was the system, it was the judge, it was the company. That's the problem. That was my philosophy. But my mind, I couldn't see it. My philosophy, I could not see it. Stay with me here, guys. It's huge. Have you ever heard this before? You can do anything you want if you put your mind, what? To it. Who's heard that before? I was told that many, many times. My mom would tell me, mijo, bien loco, bien, she knew I was a loser drug addict. Of course, she wouldn't say that, right? And she would just say, mijo, tú puedes hacer lo que tú quieras. Nomás, just put your mind to it. And you know what the problem with that is? We don't know how to put our mind to it. And you have this is why this is so important. You need to get this. Because if you can't get this, you're not going to get none of the rest. Because this is where it's all going to come out from. Your mind. How you think and this is what this whole class, the next 3 weeks, because this is gonna get real good. And like I said, there's deeper issues that most people have. Most of us come in with a lot of broken and garbage and stuff from the past. A lot. Feelings of rejection and abandonment and unloving. These are real. Many of us didn't have a father. Many of us hated our father. Y'all see what I'm saying? And so that did something to your belief system. That's why we need God so much. The Bible teaches us, be not conformed to this world. What it's saying is that not to stop thinking the way we used to think and how this world has taught us. But it says, but be ye transformed. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to transform our lives to be better men, better women, better wives, better husbands, better fathers, better leaders, better people. And the mind. So anybody have any questions here? Go ahead.
You have a book of this course that you're doing. A book with everything that you're saying.
It's coming, brother.
Okay.
All right. It's going to be in my next book. Changing your life according to Orlando Ives. No, this is not new. I learned this. Every counselor, every coach, every pastor, no matter who you talk to, if they know what they're talking about, they're going to tell you the same thing. You got to change the way you think. You got to change the way you think. So let's talk about the mind for a minute. Let's talk about that. Yeah, I gave you an idea. I want to show you a picture. You need to understand it. You need to get this. The first one, brother. Or is it that one? So let's talk about success for a minute. So I can start get you out of the mode you're in right now. And who would want to have some success in life? We want success in life, right? Listen, I remember I wanted to change my life. And so most of you have to understand. You hear my story. I mean, and I don't think no matter how much I say it, you don't believe it. I was a loser. Quiero que sepan que. I mean, I just couldn't see how my life could change. 13 years of prison, 10 years of putting needles in my arm. I just couldn't see it. I'd read it. They tell me, they pray for me. They tell me, man, you have so much hope. You have so much potential. And I'm like, how? But here's the deal. Today, people see me and they look at me as a successful business owner, as a successful minister, as a successful person. And all they see is this success, right? But that's an iceberg. Icebergs are smaller at the top and bigger at the bottom. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because what's holding that iceberg, that peak, is what's built for years on the bottom, which is the next picture. And this is what I'm talking to you about. This is going to see how big that iceberg is? See that stuff right there on the bottom is what holds you together. And if that stuff in the bottom is weak, then you're going down. You're not going to make it. Because that's where your values and your beliefs and your worldview is. That's what I've been talking about for the last 15 minutes. You have to get this. Because this is what you see. So whatever people see at the top right now in you, like people right now, like maybe your family members, maybe your spouse, maybe people that knew you before prison, they knew you as a crazy drug addict or the gang member or whatever. All they see is that peak. In order for you to change that, you need to change the bottom. That's important to understand. So, the reason I tell you this is so important to understand is because the mind. Go ahead and put the other one, brother. The other picture. And this is why we do this in 3 weeks, because this gets pretty real. We're going to talk about the mind here. You have the one that has the numbers? Yes. There you go. So let's talk about the mind. In order for you to understand more about what I'm trying to tell you, now I'm going to try to give you a picture of it. Because I know that I lost you somewhere down the line. You have to understand how the mind works in order for you to understand how to change your life. I'm telling you, once I got this, I'm going to the top. I knew I was going to change my life. I knew my life was going to get better. I knew that God was real. This is a picture of your mind. $85 to $90. Some scientists say 85 to 90. Some say 80 to 90. But right now, there's a lot to learn about the mind. So let me start here. There's a lot to learn about the mind. You can read books. In fact, scientists and neurologists and people who study the mind, they're still trying to figure out a lot of things about the mind. And the more and more they study it, the more they learn. So I'm not going to try to help you. I'm not going to teach you everything about how the mind works because I don't even know. But I do know this, what I'm about to share. And I think, and this is the part that you need to understand. So we're going to talk about the two basic parts of the mind that we all know. The subconscious, and what's the other one? And the conscious. Because you need to understand these two in order to understand what I'm trying to tell you and how you're going to change your mind. The conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is what you're using now. You're listening to me. You're watching me. You feel, you smell. All that is your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is the 5 to 10% of your mind. In other words, it's the smallest part of the mind. You need to understand this. That conscious mind is asleep when you're asleep. It's not working. Right? Well, when people faint or something or in a car accident, what do they say? And he's not moving. What do they say? He's what? Unconscious. That's what that means. So your conscious mind is where you have all where you think, you smell, you hear, you touch. It's also where your willpower is. And you need to really, really get this because willpower. Let me read it. Your conscious mind is I don't have it here. It's a part of your brain that you use on a daily basis. When you awake, you feel your surroundings, you hear, you feel, you touch, you're listening. And it's also where your willpower is. Who knows what willpower is? Willpower. How would you explain willpower? And this is again, everything I'm telling you is key. So you have to stay with me.
The desire, the will,
It's hard to explain, right?
yeah, the willpower is like the attitude of wanting something.
Mm-hmm.
Like will.
Okay, so willpower. The only way I can do it, explain it, is to give an illustration. Willpower is when you. I think the best way to understand it is like when you want to lose weight. Say you want to lose weight or you want to get built. Like my brother aquí que está encuadrado. He wasn't born that way. At least I don't think he was. You know. It took more than willpower to get that way. Willpower is this. When you say, ¿sabes qué? Ahora sí. Now, ahora sí lo voy a hacer. This time I'm going to change. This time I'm going to do it right. This time I'm going to lose weight. Y vas y compras zapatos y shorts and you get a membership gym and you can say, this time I'm going to do it. That's willpower. But then 6 o'clock in the morning comes up. What is about willpower? Where did willpower go? That's willpower. Okay, and that willpower is in your conscious mind. Because you don't feel the same in the morning. Willpower doesn't seem to work in the morning. Y'all with me? That's willpower. So keep that in mind. So, just very quick. The mind has two parts, conscious and subconscious. And which is the smallest part? The conscious mind. Okay. So let's go to the subconscious. Is it conscious? Con? It's a con. It's a sub, which is the bigger part of your mind. And this is where it's all at, brother. Right here. The subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the biggest part of the mind. That's the one that gets you in trouble. So you need to stay with me. This is where you have what I was explaining to you about the deeper issues. This is where everything you have ever experienced in life is. This is the warehouse, the cloud, if you may, of your life. Everything is in there. Todo. The hurt, the pain, the abuse, the lying, the cheating, your memories, it's all there. The belief systems, it's there. And you need to get this. Everything you've ever learned and heard, everything you've ever experienced, good or bad, this is the reason why we have such a hard time forgiving and forgetting. That's why you say, I'll forgive, but I'll never forget. And it's true. And all this is what makes up your belief system, who you are. But we can't see that. Only you see it. Only you feel it. That's why people say, ¿Qué traes? What are you doing? ¿Estás loco que? Well, yeah, probably. Your mindset is the lens through which you view life. And this is the reason you are the way you are, why you act the way you act, why you dress the way you dress, and why you feel the way you feel. Your subconscious mind is the one that's directing your life. So let me read something to you. I didn't have it here. This is why, and the reason why willpower does not work is because it will always, you know what, let me get it. I want to read it to you guys. Does anybody have any questions here? Nadie? That's the La La Land. Because you're in La La Land. Give me a minute here, guys. Let me share this with you. No, I don't have it. I don't have it. Where's my briefcase? Lend me a briefcase. Because I think it's important. I'm going to read you because we're about to close here. We don't have too much more time. Anybody learning anything? No me digan que no, chiva. Well, I'm telling you, if you don't get this. Yeah, a lot of people want to use their willpower, but I'm telling you. There you go.
Because I know when people owe me money, I use my willpower to go get that money. I use the willpower to kick in that door and go get what I had to get. You know what I mean? So everybody uses willpower regardless. It's just that how we use it and to benefit our lives. I think that that's a big part of what what we do wrong. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing as like Orlando says, all that stuff that's in the bottom, all this stuff that we've had ingrained in us since kids. You know what I mean? Since we were little. You know, que te dicen, te pegó, pégale para atrás, pégale más recio. You know, just no te dejes, no te dejes. All of that's in us. You know what I mean? So what happens when all of a sudden, you know, we're out there in the world? It's the same thing. It's gonna come out. Somebody does something to you, you're gonna fight back. You know what I mean? You're gonna fight. You're gonna push back. You're gonna do those kind of things.
Yeah, no. And if you keep on, if you never change that, then you're never going to change. So things have to change. So let me read what I wanted to read to you. Dr. Lipton, he says that your life is just an expression of the programming in your conscious mind. Your life is just an expression of the programming in your subconscious mind. He goes on to say that 85 to 95% of your life comes from the subconscious mind. Porque muchas veces, let me tell you, let me go on. And this makes a lot of sense considering what the Bible says. It says in Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Because that's how you think about yourself. That's how you are. So the subconscious mind overview. Listen to this. This is the reason why you example of the subconscious mind, drinking and drugging. That's why it's so hard to stop using, to stay sober. Because if you've been a drug addict or an alcoholic for so long, that's all in the subconscious and it's ingrained in you. And the only way to get it out is to start doing something different. Your mind is programmed to use drugs because it's been using it for so long. And consciously, you try to stop using willpower. Consciously, you try to stop using willpower, but you can't stop thinking about it, using. It's an obsession. So you eventually use again. Because, let me tell you why. When the conscious mind, where the willpower is, when the conscious mind tries to use willpower to control behavior, change habits, and beliefs, it will always lose out to the subconscious mind's greater power and influence. In other words, you always go back to what you know because we're creatures of habit. You always go back to what feels comfortable. We always go back to the ex or the ex-girlfriend or the ex-boyfriend. You always go back to that bar or that drug. You always go back because it's all in there. And the subconscious always wins out. This is why it's so hard to stay sober, stop drinking, stop using, stop cussing, stop being lazy. This is it. So what's the bottom line here? What's the bottom line? Here, let me tell you the bottom line to everything I just said. If we are going to change our life, make your life better, you're going to have to renew your mind, which means you're going to have to start reprogramming your subconscious mind. That's what you're going to have to start doing. Let me repeat that. If you are to change your life, make your life better, you're going to have to you have to renew your mind, which means you're going to have to start reprogramming your subconscious. That's why I told you all this. That's why I said all this that I said. So what has to change? The subconscious. ¿Ya me entendieron o no? No, por eso I'm going to pass around the donation bucket. Yes. Put this in your subconscious. Give all the time. I brought my little donation. So, guys, next week, we're going to talk about if what I'm telling you is true, that in order to change your life, you have to change your subconscious. Next week, we're going to talk about how to do that. How you change your subconscious. You have to change your ways. But your ways are already recorded. And you're used to doing the same thing over and over. You talk the way you talk. You act the way you act. You react the way you react. Because of the subconscious. Because that's all you have. That's all you have is your subconscious. That's why even so many Christians, they can't change their lives. They can't be, because they never changed their mindset. They don't understand that they have to change that. Not just because you come to church, everything's going to be okay. Because you pray, everything's going to be okay. All those things are important, but you have to start applying them and practicing them, which is what we're going to talk about next week. How do you change your subconscious? Let me read it again. Let me read this. If we're going to change our lives, if we're going to make our lives better, we're going to have to start renewing our mind, which means we must start reprogramming the subconscious. So the question is, how do you do that? How do you reprogram your mind? Well, I'm going to tell you next week how to do that. Porque ya te dije mucho. Ya están hasta aquí. Your mind is like... Anybody else? So let me read the scripture and we'll close. Because I didn't give you many scriptures. Ephesians 4:23-24. Ephesians 4:23-24. And be renewed in the spirit of your mind. And that you put on this new man. This is how you change. Or this new way of thinking, which was created according to God in true righteousness and holiness. The Bible talks about putting off the old man and putting on the new man. And this is what I'm talking about here this evening. And next week, I'm going to share more about that. About how do you put on the new man? You start changing and reprogramming the subconscious. That's how you do it. So, next week, we'll be here. I hope you learned something. ¿Aprendieron algo o no? All right. Then that's all I have. Thank you for watching. God bless you.